Welcome back to the competitive speed series.
The absolute carnage on this final lap. 5 red lights here in Miami. Can they regain that place?
I cannot believe my eyes.
Who comes out on top? Down the inside into Casio Triangle. This could end in disaster.
So Zach Miles taking the lead. It was an all or nothing approach for the TF10 team.
And this could be crucial for NBR.
A race to remember with Jeremy Gallagher.
And they are officially the champions of the season.
It does not get closer than that. What a race. What a season.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to Competitive Speed Series, where we are here for round 5, the mystery round of the season, where it is the Monaco Grand Prix. No, it's not. Ollie, welcome along. The Grand Prix is nearly upon us. We won't give it the event just yet, but technically it could be the Monaco Grand Prix. We just don't know until we get to the grid. Let's say that. Until we get to the grid, we won't know. But yeah, after last week's mental race around Bahrain, we are here for the next round, middle of the season, pretty much. Standings. Actually, let's go to the standings. The standings are as the BRT team leading the way by what is that? 7 points. It's not that much.
It's not at all, is it? It seems after last week, thought maybe there's 3 or 4 teams involved with a title fight, but after last week's amazing GP we had at Bahrain, it's turned a bit of a 2-horse race at the moment as we get to obviously round 5 of the season, Gareth. And yeah, those wins are only coming from 3 teams at the moment, that being BRT, TF10, and ET8.
Yeah, Ollie, this is just looking at it, it's really quite close. It's kind of got 2 different gaps. Really, well, the top 4, the middle 2, and then middle 3, sorry, and the bottom 3. It's really quite weird and well, pretty set, I think, right now for the way things are going. But again, I say this pretty much week in, week out. The points going from 1st to 15th, it really does add that extra little bit of I can't think of the right word. Jeopardy into it. There we go. Thank you very much. Anyway, let's go to race side, because they are already on track, ready for qualifying, which is good. These guys having a little bit of it's dry at the moment. It is Imola, one of the Italian Grand Prix, you could say. But wow, we've had many of an awesome race here, many of a tragic race as well. We won't go on to that subject for real F1, but when it comes to sim racing, it's really into turn 1 and a little bit of DRS games to going down into the final 2 corners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not only that, it's not sort of generic straight across the start finish, is it? There's a couple of curves in there. There's a snaky turn 1, turn 2, so it really adds to the race having that DRS. So, like I said, coming down the hill as well, we see quite a lot of movement, but plenty of overtaking spots at the circuit. And I think a fan favourite, Gareth, sticking back on the calendar a few years ago, and yeah, pleased with this Mr. Grand Prix. Well, for me anyway. For the drivers, we'll have to wait and see how they progress through qualifying now.
Yeah, we're on board with NLR Ryan into Piratella as we speak, and a very tricky part of the track coming up, Acqua Minerale, where you can always guarantee someone is going to pick up a penalty at that corner, or the section of corners from 11 to 13. It's so tight between them, and it's so easy just to go a little bit over the white lines. And something we will talk about in the race is penalties, but qualifying is just as important for it as well, because you really want to set that early banker lap.
Absolutely, yeah. You get confidence from that first lap. See yourself a good marker as Ryan cuts the inside down, a 13.5 for the first lap here in Imola. But it does give you a world of confidence, Gareth. If you can nail that lap without getting any corner cut warnings. That, like I said, gives you a boost, you could say, in the qualifying session, and something to match against now for Ryan coming into the next couple of laps for him here at Imola.
Yeah, we'll continue to see how it all pans down. TF10 Renz is definitely one to watch. ETA Azim throws themselves into second provisionally, but then with Nico going quicker, he's gone down to third place. Pablo and Supply Raptor have invalidated. Here comes OVR Thomas into Ferrante Alta. It looks good for him through there. It is purple, but that's because it's his first lap, I believe. And, well, this is going to be interesting to see how it will pop down into Ravazza, into 17 and 18 for the OVR driver in the Visa Cash App car, or the RB as it's more commonly known at the moment. And OVR Thomas across the line into third place provisionally. But we have already seen a few drivers invalidate their qualifying lap. It's not that important this early on, but yeah, like I said, like we've already mentioned and agreed, it's nice to get that banker on there just to give yourself an ease of, like a peace of mind that, you know what, one's on.
And it's less stressful, Gareth, knowing you've got a lap on the board and there could be other drivers who make mistakes. Knowing that you've got at least one there can help. And like we mentioned in the build-up, the fact that points go from 1st to 15th, you starting, let's say, 14th rather than the back of the grid because you couldn't set a lap time, could mean the difference in your team placing high up in the standings or not later on in, obviously, in the race and in the standing. So it does mean a lot to the drivers getting that early bank lap, even if it's a slower lap here at Imola. But a few drivers get to get some times on the board. We've only got the top 8 at the moment, but Simbarox won obviously a very slow lap there, but 15 seconds, more than that, sorry, 17 seconds behind our current pole sitter in Nico. But we'll have to wait and see. Still a long way. Still 12 minutes left, Gareth. Plenty of time to get round here in Imola before the end of qualifying.
Yeah, plenty of time indeed. IoT Simon getting themselves into 8th place. I think Spicer possibly could be the next driver to throw in a qualifying lap. They just started Sector 1. They're into Sector 1 and they're throwing through Verante Villeneuve now into Turn 7. Tozer for the Mercedes driver, the NLR driver. Then it's looking relatively quick so far up the hill through the kink to the right of Turn 8, then into Piratella of 9, and it's pushing the limits but could be a little bit more. There's a little bit more of the white line they could have gone over. Then through Acqua Minerale, 11, 12 and 13. It's looking relatively good for Spicer, and into Verante Alta. Let's see how much of the curb they do cut. We've seen more curb cutting through 14 and 15, so maybe a little bit more time to find for the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, it depends how much risk you want to take, because hitting those curbs does unsettle the car, and you've got the power maybe slightly too early. The back end steps out, and that's lost a couple of tenths then. So it depends how much risk they want to put through the cars. Spider jumps up to P5 with a 1 minute 13.7. And he is about 2 tenths off his teammate Ryan in currently 3rd place. So a little bit of time to find for both drivers. Obviously Ryan, and there we go. BRT, I'm going to say Murphy, Gareth?
Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy is
Joe Murphy. Yeah. With a flying time, first man into the 0.3s there. As great lap time from the BRT driver.
Yeah, Joe Murphy and TF10 Renz will be battling away like they do in, other league races as well. And Owen then invalidating Ivan. They're back on an out lap, just about to start a lap. Owen invalidated, so that's not ideal for the BRT driver. Tech Brutal, Joe Murphy stepping in for Tech Brutal tonight, it looks like. And Tech being a very accomplished driver, but Joe Murphy also is as well. As cracking stuff so far, and BRT need all their drivers firing on all cylinders, so Owen has a lot of work to do down in 19th place at the moment. Tech, yes you are, I will say you are a very good driver indeed. whether you believe it or not. And this is where you have like 5 races in a row where you DNF because I've cursed you in some commentary fashion. But Ivan coming through Sector 2 now and down into Acqua Minerale. This is tough for the Ferrari now. We're getting into a little bit more closer to crunch time. Invalidated their first lap. Really needs to make sure Varante Alta is soft and smooth, and he has done. This is going to be, well, I'm thinking a 13.6, 13.7 at the moment from what I gather, as long as Ravazza is good.
Whoa, wheel in the door. Commentator's curse there, Gareth, did a wheel in the gravel, and that's costing some time there. I think your prediction is going to be a little bit off there. 14.8 for Ivan. Yeah, just a bit, Gareth.
Oh, goodness me. I'm going to... Well, Supply Raptor hopefully is... Oh, my goodness, he's going into the pits. That is typical. Someone's... Latifi. Oh, you're on an outlap. Pablo, your time to shine right now, because I'm definitely not shining in the commentary box. And, you know, Finn Bob's having a go at me saying that, oh, goodness me. You know what? You can't have favourite drivers anymore. I'm not even saying Tech Brute was one of my favourite drivers. I was just saying he was a very good driver. But all of a sudden, commentators, well, we don't know anything anyway, do we, Ollie?
I think F in the chat, guys, for those comments from Gareth.
Oh dear. Right, we've got plenty of time in this one. 7 minutes, 50 seconds. BRT looking like they could get pole tonight. Is that something that you agree with?
Sorry, Gareth, I missed someone getting pole. Murphy.
But he looks like he's getting... He looked like...
Yes. Yeah. I mean, again, early doors. What's that? About half a tenth ahead at the moment. He's on an outlap now. We'll see whether he can improve on that. But again, still, 7 minutes ago, there's at least 2 laps, 2 flying laps in these drivers. So it's difficult to say. I think it's too early. The gap isn't big enough for me to say he's going to get it at the moment. And after last week's, how close it was in qualifying, I think it'll come down to the last couple of laps, and someone might jump up there. Yeah, we saw how close it was between Tech and Azim last week, and I can imagine we'll have something similar again tonight.
Yeah, if anyone's going to displace it, it could very well be this man, TF10 Renz, who is been on impeccable form through all the leagues he's been in at the moment. And I know Ryan throwing themselves into second place. That's a good time from Ryan. Not see the best of it in the back end of Renz. Steps through at turn 12. It looked like he was taking Acqua Minerale perfectly, but the back end just didn't do it for them. And an invalidation into Varante Alta has, well, I'm not saying that's cost them, but it's definitely cost them setting a lap time. Joe Murphy, let's go on board with the provisional pole sitter. He's slightly down on his first sector time. Let's see if they can go quicker this time round.
Yeah, up the hill now before coming back down again. Tricky section as there we go, Spicer. It goes pole by what was it, 400s there. So great lap from Spicer getting involved with 5 minutes left of the session. But Murphy's got some work to do still. Again, down on his lap time here. Can he do anything coming to the last sector here to try and improve on that? He's got 3 corners remaining. Well, sorry, 4 now, 3. Down the deep, heavy braking zone, hops the curb, doesn't want to drift it too wide to hit the gravel trap on the outside once again on turn 18, flies towards the line. Can he improve in his lap time? He can, and he goes pole with a 13.072. Who can challenge that, guys? Great lap time. We thought he bottled it then, but he managed to bring back 3/10 of the last sector and put it on pole.
Yeah, Joe Murphy is, well, firing on pretty much all cylinders at the moment. Dirk has invalidated on their lap time. Supply Raptor coming through down into 16 and 17 and 18. 16's the dink to the right hand side, and he's invalidated on the entry of 17. That's not ideal for Supply Raptor, and they're coming across the line now to set the time. It would have been enough for the top 4 had they're not invalidated on that one. Simba Rock's one, I don't believe is on a lap. I don't think Nico is on a lap. Thomas is not on a lap. He's slower, and he's spun at turn 12 and 13. Owen has invalidated. Someone surely is on a lap. You know what? Alex Lofer's on an outlap. Let's go with the Ferrari, man. As everyone seems to be making a little bit of a hash of turn 12.
Yeah, it seems to be. I mean, it's probably the most difficult corner on the circuit, but you'd argue, Gareth, with how it's a heavy break zone, uphill right hander. You want to put the power as quick as you can, but obviously you risk drifting wide on the left side or spin the tyres up. So it is a difficult corner. So it's if they can nail that, they'll be grand. But I think we might see quite a few penalties coming into this race with the amount of invalidations we've had so far. Whether the turn 12 will be the biggest culprit, we'll have to wait and see. But Alex, doing okay at the moment. Obviously, a man who was at the front of the grid last week in Bahrain. We'll see whether he can match his antics last week with jumping up to the front in this race. But coming down into the final sector here, doing okay so far. He hops the curbs. We'll see whether he can nail it and get a lap time on the board.
Through a corner that isn't a corner, and then a quick kink to the right hand side, which is a corner. I never understand how people choose what corners are and aren't in F1 or any tracks really. But Alex Lofer coming across the line now. Is it going to be enough for a top 10? It is. It's P7 provisionally for Alex Lofer with 2 minutes 46 remaining. I don't think there's enough time for Alex to get themselves into the pits and back out. It might be, but it's going to be very, very close. There's a lot of cars now heading on their way out. Both of the TF10 cars are on the way out. There is Joe Murphy as well, wanting to set a lap time early, it looks like. They don't want that extra pressure of being one of the last ones to set a time.
No, absolutely not. If you can get it done with the clock still ticking, that's just, it takes the weight off your shoulders, doesn't it? Some people thrive on that last minute gasp lap. Some others don't. Other like to retire early and watch the times come in. Each driver's slightly different. I was always wanting to push to the very end to eke at any tenth I could. But some drivers, like to get it done early. But Joe Murphy just cruising through the last sector at the moment, getting ready to build up towards his final qualifying lap here at Imola.
Let's see what IRT Ferrari Pro can do. Currently P9 into the first Verante Tamburello. It looks pretty solid for the Haas driver, the IRT driver at the moment. There's a few cars there, but thankfully they do ghost when coming through all this. Through Verante, Villeneuve then into Toza. It's looking pretty good for the Haas driver at the moment. The red light is flashing at the back, but just at the end of the curb on the left-hand side of your screen, there was just a little bit of a tail snap for the Haas driver, and there the invalidation kicks in, and that's not ideal for IRT Ferrari Pro. Let's see what TF10 Rens can do. They are possibly, in my opinion, one of the drivers to challenge Joe Murphy.
Yep, and he's a 10th up on his middle sector here. We'll see whether he can continue improving. Still a slight improvement as yellow flag, and that is a mistake from Owen, it looks like. And he is out of this race at, what would be, turn 4, Gareth? So one BRT driver out, and he will not be improving on the lap time. But Ren's still on board as he comes round the final corner. Where will he go? Up in the second with a 13.2. Not good enough to take pole.
And that's probably music to Joe Murphy's ears because he's invalidated. What can NLR Ryan do? They're now coming across the final corner, hugging the inside line right next to the curb. It's quicker, but not that much quicker, to be honest. His teammate, NLR Ryan, again quicker and goes to second place. And that is provisional second ahead of TF10 Rens. Dirk, are you on a lap time? He is into the hairpin of Toza. He has yet to set a valid lap time this time round, as OVR Thomas, I believe, goes into 7th place there. But Dirk, there's a lot of pressure on TF10's shoulders here.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll see where he'll pop out. It'll be his last flying lap for TF10. You know, that's he's leaving it extremely late, Gareth, and we'll see whether he can match his teammate and ends up in 3rd. You know, he needs a rear gunner, and Dirk right down in 19th with invalidation, and he has invalidated that lap time, Gareth.
That's not ideal at all for Dirk. Pablo, the only other driver yet to set a lap time into turn 17. It's, well, not perfect, but it's in there. It's done. And he's going to be able to set a lap time, which is good for them because they're going to cross the line and go 16th. And that leaves TF10 Dirk bottom of the pile in the mystery round here at Imola. Anyone, I think that is it. That is qualifying over and done with. A little bit of a subdued one because Joe Murphy wasn't able to set, he invalidated and unable to set a lap time. But Spicer for the NLR team throwing themselves into 2nd place. That's really good with TF10 Rennes in 3rd. Ryan held 2nd for a little bit, but just wasn't to be tonight.
No, and it wasn't. But you know, he starts on the 2nd row, so I think he'd be pleased with that behind his teammate. You know, everyone else. You know, neither Joe Murphy or Joe Murphy, his teammate isn't there. Ren's teammate isn't up there either. So both Ryan and Spicer will be. I think they'll be pleased with that. Looking through that. ET8 not doing too bad either. Both the drivers in 5th and 6th, so they'll be happy with that as well, Gareth. So I think there'll be people obviously happy with qualifying and others obviously not so happy with it all.
Definitely, let's quickly run it down. It's Joe Murphy from Spicer and Rennes, Ryan, Azim, Sergio Lee, OVR Thomas, Supply Raptor, Owen, Alex Loafer, Nico, Ferrari Pro, Nico, Simbarox 1, Latifi, Pablo, Paulos, Simon, Ivan, and then Dirk at the bottom there. Not ideal for TF10, and you know what? Let's go to the standings quickly. Once I find the button to press, is that the one? That is it. Because TF10 are in that fight for the win for the championship. And with, I think Owen was in the top 10, but not it's not as bad as TF10 Dirk, but with Joe Murphy leading the way on pole, it's looking better. It's looking rather overcast, but we do know there is a reset to the lobby for this. But you know what? It just seems at the moment BRT have that little bit of a slight advantage.
Yeah, they do. Especially when Murphy was just shy of 2/10 ahead of everyone else. You know, that's a significant margin that he'll take with confidence into the race, knowing he's got that. And if he can cut a gap at the start, you know, he's got every chance of winning this race. Obviously, we don't know the conditions. Safety cars can happen at the circuit. Penalties are a big thing. So there's a lot to think about in this race as the drivers treading a race. Destruction derby, isn't it? It's no rules racing, I think, as we get into to restart the lobby.
You know what? I do miss Destruction Derby. Does anyone remember that PlayStation 1 Destruction Derby? Am I showing my age with that?
No, I remember that.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
no, I do. Yeah,
Probably some of the...
I'm sure there was a second one on PlayStation 2, wasn't there? Or maybe I had a PS1 game in a PS2.
There was definitely a Destruction Derby. It's probably more like Wreckfest now. That's the Wreckfest is possibly the closest thing we've got to it. At least that is about the same age as a lot of these people in the lobby. Anyway, with that all that being said about qualifying and how well BRT has done, does that put them in the front foot for the race win tonight?
I think so. Yeah, it depends. It really depends. So Owen was a little bit further down. I think it's difficult to say, isn't it? It really is. I think NL are probably in the best position at the moment with how their drivers are. I think overall, maybe it's them, but then for the win, it could be BRT. But I think there's so many things to contend with in these race cars. It's almost too difficult to predict a lot of the time.
Definitely so. Just while we wait for the lobby to reset and get another driver get a driver back in here, we're just going to have a quick word from our sponsors and rerun of our trailer.
Welcome back to the competitive speed
The
series.
absolute carnage on this final lap. 5 red lights here in Miami. Can they regain that
I
place?
cannot believe my
Who
eyes.
comes out on top? Down the inside into Casio Triangle. This could end in disaster.
Zach Miles taking the lead. It was an all-or-nothing approach for the TF10 team.
And this could be crucial for NVR.
A race to remember for Jeremy Gallagher.
And they are officially the champions of the season.
It does not get closer than that. What a race. What a season.
And welcome back, everybody. We are just waiting. Well, the finalising of the positions are being done here in competitive speed series, and you know what? We had such a great race last time out in Bahrain. We literally just spoke about it Ollie and I were speaking about it in the off screen. Honestly, after this race, I would recommend going to watch it. It was great for a spectator's point of view. I know some of the drivers. Sometimes Bahrain, or sometimes just driving in general, you know, we can go to the esports. Sometimes it can be a little bit difficult, and emotions do get the better of you. But from a spectator's point of view, we like that a little bit of controversy, don't we?
Yeah, of course. It's an extra bit of spice, isn't it, when it comes to these races? I don't think there was too much last week. A bit of bumping and barging, but I think it was fairly clean, really, and that drag rate to the line really was fantastic. And our leader for a lot of it, it was changing every lap, wasn't it? There was rarely a consistent leader for more than a lap or two, wasn't there? So it was just amazing to watch. And like Gareth said, I recommend going back if you've got the time to rewatch that race. It was non-stop. I think I was sweating by the end of it, Gareth, with all the excitement that was happening in the race and the constant overtaking. It was non-stop.
It's definitely worth a watch. Let's remind you what is the lay of the land in season 5 here. On the console side of competitive speed series, it is BRT leading the way on 181 points, with TF10 just 7 points behind on 174. ET8 and NLR are close behind. They're nipping at the bud to be getting in there, and NLR would have they have done a fantastic job in qualifying. If they can keep that up into the race, it'll look even better for them, won't it?
Yeah, and NRL yet to get a win this season. It's only been split between the top 3 teams, Gareth. So I'm sure they'll be hunting for a win in this race. So round 5 of the championship. So,
guys in the chat, I know you're there. Let us know who you think is going to take victory tonight. Is it going to be one of the top 4 teams, or are we going to see something a little bit different? An IRT or an AMR or I don't know, FGE? Is something special going to happen tonight? Nordic is going NLR. But yeah, let us know who you think is going to take victory tonight. Ollie, I'll pass that question on to you.
I think I have to agree. I think NLR will get it. Their car's positioned well. I went with ET8 last week with Azim, but unfortunately mistakes later on cost him. So yeah, I'm gonna back like the chat. Some of the guys in the chat saying NLR, but I think it's really between themselves, ET8 and BRT for the win this evening.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit of a troll going on from Roberto to Thanos there again about my FGE comment. Nah, who knows?
They can try, Gareth. They'll try their best.
Stranger things have happened, like me in an F1 car. Joe Murphy, BRT Silo, obviously backing Joe Murphy, and BRT are in a good point. Joe Murphy is there; he's leading the way from the pole position, but it's difficult going into turn one, being in the lead here. It's a long, angled going into turn 1 and 2, isn't it?
And it's difficult to defend as well. Easily side by side action through turn 1 and 2. So at end the run down towards 3 and 4. So yeah, I think if Murphy can get a gap and get a lead, I think he run away with it. But the drivers behind won't let him do that. But if they can get past him early, or somehow get a great start, I think we'll have a real battle on our hands for the race win tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and a little bit of a slipstream and DRS games will come into effect here. Nordic is saying about Joe Murphy picking up penalties, and that is something that I was going to allude to. There's DRS games and slipstream will definitely take a place here, but penalties, and we saw in qualifying, turn 12, Aqua Minerale to 13, it can cause poor problems for drivers.
And absolutely, yeah, we've seen plenty of mistakes going through there. So also obviously 14 and 15, that they'll cut up between sector 2 and sector 3 has been a real issue for the drivers, trying to eke out every millimetre of space on the circuit, and that's where it's cost them a few on a couple of occasions. And I'm sure it happened in the race as well. They lose concentration. They get overtaken, they get frustrated, they try and get back at someone. These things add up, and it could be the difference between a good haul of points. As we've seen, it's how close it is at times. That 1 3-second penalty can drop you a heap of positions. So it's really important that you try and keep it as clean as possible. Even if you keep it to 1, it's better than having 2, 3, 4 penalties that really add up later on in the race, and how condensed this grid is a lot of the time.
Definitely, it could cost you massively. We are just waiting for the drivers to hit ready, basically, for everyone to get them strategy sorted, setup sorted. We're on the grid. It is just a matter of whenever they want to press that A button or the X button, whichever console you're on here, and whichever way you're following. But there's obviously lots to talk about before a race, and how each driver's gonna take each race. And sometimes, especially at a track like Imola, a track like I'll forget that for the time being, because we are on 5 red lights here in Imola, and away we go. Those lights didn't stay held for a long time, and it was a very good start from Joe Murphy. Spicer's gone straight across to follow the strip seam. Has Renz been able to do it? And into 3rd place, Ryan is fighting Renz, and that's a big fight. He's been pushed into the grass a little bit there. Renz has had to defend valiantly, and he has done, and the Alpine of Azim has managed to get past Ryan. So has his teammate Sergio. That's an interesting start to this Grand Prix anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Murphy getting a great start off the line. Boxed it, but Spicer couldn't get through, and you thought Ryan had been able to get past Renz there, but Renz pushed him out wide, and Ryan down to 6th place now, behind both the ET8 drivers, which is not ideal for him. His teammate needs a bit of a rear gunner here, and unfortunately he's not there now. He's got Thomas all over his gearbox. In all drivers still on circuit, great to see. But it all kicked off, I think, further down, guys. A lot of overtaking happening. But frantic start as usual when it comes to CSS.
Yeah, frantic. There's a couple of different strategies on order here tonight. Majority mediums, and then a couple on softs and a couple on hards, as Sembarox 1 and Ferrari Pro swapping positions as we stick with the leaders for the time being, because Renz is all over the back of Spicer at the moment. just sticking to the back end of the diffuser of the Mercedes ahead. But it's all nice and tidy at the moment. And looking at, let's have a, we've had a look at the tyres just because I know everyone loves that. But Ferrari Pro down 3 places, Pablo down 2. Dirk has made a move up straight away, and so has Owen in the battle for, BRT and TF10. And Ferrari Pro getting a penalty this early on.
Oh, we mentioned it, didn't we, Gareth, in the build-up and in qualifying how important it is, and to get one within a lap and a half for IRT, not ideal whatsoever, and he'll be kicking himself already.
Not ideal for the IRT team, down in 15th and 16th, and this is how crucial it would be for IRT. That would cost them, if it was to finish right now, checkered flag, that would cost, I say it would cost them a point. I've just seen the IRT race teammate is behind him, so it wouldn't cost them a point, but the sentiment is there.
Absolutely, and just at the front, Spies are getting very close to the back of Murphy. Haven't actually had to lift off, Gareth. Didn't fancy the move then. Pushed Ren back slightly into Azim in 4th place. So the opportunity there to try and take the lead. There's a bit of a locker for Murphy again on the rears as they come round turn 7 there. Up the hill they go. But it's I think we should see some moves here. But not. Oh, someone's. I think someone's made a mistake. I think that's Ferrari down. IRT Ferrari Pro down into 18th now, Gareth. He's down 6th place of where he started.
Yeah, not ideal. 3 seconds and dropping down like a stone. It's not ideal for the IRT driver, as Spicer looks like he's making hard work of Varante Alta, and all of a sudden TF10 again sticking to that diffuser. Joe Murphy trying to put a little bit of gap between himself and Spicer to make this long straight, curvy straight from 19 to turn 2 and 3, but TF10 Renz has already got past Spicer. He's now looking at the diffuser of the Kick Sauber ahead. He doesn't decide to go for the move, but that isn't the sight that Joe Murphy wanted to see. He probably wanted to see Spicer there instead of Renz.
Absolutely, Renz was flying coming out of the final corner, and he almost got Spicer by the time they crossed the line, Gareth, and again just couldn't get enough speed there as Paulos gets a penalty down in 16. Not ideal for FGE there, but he wasn't close enough, and he might try again on this lap. But Murphy still holding charge in the front of the grid, keeping it cool up front, and a mistake there from Renz, but not enough to drop back here. But it seems Murphy's great coming through the chicane here and really gets the power down early and to bridge a little bit of a gap there. Say that though, Renz closed the gap, and there's another penalty for a driver. That's Simba Rocks 1 get a penalty down in 13th place.
Lap 4 of 32, heading into lap 5, and we've already got 3 drivers sticking to a 3-second time penalty. That's not ideal. EVE Nico, one of the drivers on the set of softs, hasn't really made too many moves, still in 10th place there, as Joe Murphy, the camera angle hasn't given it, but Joe Murphy loses a lead to TF10 Renz as well before turn 2 and 3 into Tamburello, and now down from turn 4 to 5th, and it's looking pretty ominous if you're a TF10 fan, because Renz is looking quite strong. Joe Murphy has to respond now. ETA Azim though is still all over the back of Spicer, and you just wonder if they manage to dispatch Spicer, whether there will be a threat to Renz or Joe Murphy.
It could well be. Spicer, Azim and Sergio have been wrapped with a penalty as well in 9th place. Azim and Sergio have been quick, but they've not really made any moves yet. The mistake by Ryan at the start cost him, and he's been stuck in 6th place as well, Gareth. There's not been, other than the overtake for the lead, there's not been too much really happening as Azim oversteers into 17 there. Oversteer out of 18. He struggled a little bit there, but I don't think his team is close enough to make a move as of yet. But Murphy dropping back from a race leader. Could Spicer get Murphy here? I don't think he's going to be close enough to to make any moves here, but Ren is looking mega quick at the moment, Gareth, and I can't see Murphy getting past him at the moment. But, you know, just a simple mistake from Ren could change things in an instant, I'm sure.
Definitely, that's the way things will go. But TF10 Rens Thomason is absolutely, rapid at the moment and doing what he needs to do. And, well, you can see from a console perspective, it is very much PlayStation orientated. I think we've got 6 drivers that are Xbox, maybe even 5. And that's just, you know, we've had the Xbox domination era. We still got very, very strong Xbox drivers. There just seems to be a lot of strong PlayStation drivers at the moment as well. It's definitely not an Xbox versus PlayStation event, but it is looking that out of the top 6, only one of them is an Xbox driver, and that is this man, Joe Murphy, who's doing everything he can to keep up with TF10 Rens right now.
Yeah, he's trying his best here. Whether he's going to be close enough to make a move on our leader, he actually lets him through. It looks like he's gone wide. Murphy will have the inside for the first corner. Oh, there's a bit of argy-bargy behind, side by side between Nazim and Spicer, still side by side. Wheelbang as they come through the corner. The driver in the car isn't happy, still side by side. As they come down towards turn 4, Hughes who latest on the brake, still side by side. And it looks like Spicer has the inside and stays in the lead for now. Through 7 they go. And Azim looked racy there, Gareth. Almost had the opportunity to get by, but not close enough at the moment. I think that's Owen trying to defend as well for Supply Raptor. Oh, he's taken Supply Raptor, I think, maybe. But it's all kicking off on lap 7. And that's what we like to see. But Murphy and Ren allowing a bit of a gap here, Gareth, with the fighter behind. And that could be, well, hopefully doesn't break up the pack, but you never know at times.
You never know, and sometimes all it takes is just the break, and then 2 drivers, 3 drivers, whoever can just take away and be out of sight because they've got the pace, and it's actually only the DRS and the slipstream keeping people open. And is that Ryan going into the pit? There's a few drivers popping into the pits. I wonder if there's damage to those cars, but they've decided it's early doors for pits to them. I can't see any overcast, but I wonder, let's go on board with Ryan. I can't see any front wing damage or change to front wings to any of those cars coming in. They're now on a set of hards. Maybe they're going for the ultimate undercut strategy, and hards can go from this point of view, but it's odd that the mediums and the softs went at the same time.
Yeah, interesting decision. It might work later on in the race as Owen gets a penalty in 6th place. Not ideal for the BRT driver, but we saw how well the undercut worked last week, Gareth, at Bahrain, as the fight for the league got very close then, coming through 12 and 13. Murphy almost pushing Rens through the start of the 3rd sector. But we'll see how it works. You know, a lot of drivers switch onto the hards there, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens and whether it triggers these medium runners in now. We'll keep an eye on the front two, and there we go. Ren's in the pit as well.
These mediums going early. I knew they would be early, but I didn't realise before lap 10, which is quite a shock to me. Joe Murphy doing things his way though. He's going later, and this is something we've seen. Well, I've seen with Joe Murphy in the past, where he decides to go a little bit longer on the tyres, so he's racier towards the end of the race. We'll have to see how it will all pan out. But let's go on board with NLR Ryan as they're coming down the start-finish straight for their 9th time. And who are they going to come a cropper with? And he's in front of his teammate, but behind TF10 Rens. They weren't able to get an undercut on the Rens.
Yeah, I was going to just mention that would have been ideal to put him in a NLR sandwich there and allow them both to get by. But it's not gone. It's not played out in that way, unfortunately, for the team, as Simon there gets a penalty as well. Yeah, not ideal for them. And Ren's got a bit of a gap now, 13 seconds to Pablo, obviously not pitted. But we'll see whether this train can chug along now and try and catch and close down the top guys. The top two finally into the pits. So does Palos go in? No, he stays out. What about Pablo? Does he pull in the pits? No, both FG drivers guys staying out.
They are. They were the ones that started on a hard compound. So it's going to be interesting. I'm just checking the Nordic saying the stream laggy, and I hope not. But I believe Ace is battling with me there. But look at this. Out of the pits, Joe Murphy behind Ryan, Renz and Spicer. Spicer goes past both Renz and Ryan. Oh my goodness me, that was a big move. And Ryan, losing a position, but Spicer gaining 2 is absolutely, well, what NLR needed.
I think Renz was concentrating on the driver coming out of the pits. Didn't see Spicer fly up his inside. I think he caught him napping there, Gareth. And Spicer takes the provisional lead. Obviously, Pablo and Palos yet to pit where they started on those tyres. But great surprise move by Spicer, and that's him into the lead of this chase anyway. Obviously, top 2 will go long. We'll see where they pop out later on in the race. But yeah, great for him, and ahead of Renz, who's been so quick in the early part of this race.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it will all continue to pan out, as Ivan picking up a 3-second penalty, which is not ideal. But TR, Paulos and Pablo they'll be fast at the end of the Grand Prix, but look at how much overspeed Ryan is going. He's going to the outside. Well, he tried to go to the outside of Renz. It wasn't happening on that occasion for the NLR driver, as Joe Murphy's just waiting to pick off the bones at the end of this. I'm trying to find... ET8 Azim is down to 9th place there. That's not ideal. And I'm trying to find where his teammate is. Sergioli's down in 11th. ET8 have had an absolute nightmare. One of them is behind the other BRT driver, Owen, who has got the 3-second time penalty to their name. But they were comfortably ahead of Owen at one point.
I think that second lot of pit stoppers have struggled with obviously Azim dropping back behind Thomas and Supply Raptor there. Not ideal at all, and those guys have done a little bit for more laps, but the gaps aren't forming. Everyone is still quite together, which are obviously ideal for Azim, but he's just in a DRS train, Gareth, and he's struggling to get by the cars ahead. You have to obviously try something different to try and get by the drivers, as that's Ryan getting past Renz there. Did he take a teammate as well? Yes, he does. Can his teammate hold Renz off there? Side by side coming through the first 2 corners. Round 4, they go, still side by side. Oh, the back end steps out for Renz as he hops the curb, and that's him lost in traction. And that's him down to P5 now, and that is for now, Gareth, and NLR 1-2.
Yeah, net 1-2 for the 2 of them, and that is absolutely great for them. If you're an NLR fan, Renz unable to hold the position and just back end struggled. And Joe Murphy was there waiting in the wings to try and make a move on either of them if they made more of a mistake than they did. And at the moment, he is glued to the back end of Renz, and it could be, well, we could be looking at a move of any of these free drivers as they head down the start-finish straight, because if you look at Ryan, he is 0.7 of a second in front of his teammate, which could leave Spicer a little bit vulnerable down this straight.
Yeah, I think he's going to be sort of exposed here, Gareth, as they fly down towards turn 1 and turn 2. No move at the moment. I think everyone's too spaced out on this occasion, but there we go. Spicer caught up back to his teammate there, and back within the niceties of the DRS there, his teammate, so he'll be happy to get back on the rear end of that car coming through 7 now, but no moves at the moment. Thomas looking pretty well. I say that though. Supply Raptor and Azim side by side. A little bit of contact there, and that's another penalty for Supply Raptor being. I don't know whether there was a touch onto the grass for Supply Raptor, but Azim trying to be opportunistic on 7, not making a move through there for now, but look how close the drivers are coming through 12, Gareth. Azim looking very close to the back of Supply Raptor, but just can't work his way through. Same with Murphy, so good through 12, but just can't get enough pace to go up the hill and get past Renz into turn 14 there.
Yeah, I think that might be looked at by the stewards for a penalty removal for Supply Raptor there. But obviously, as long as the race director is given and all the other things noted, but we'll stay on board with Azim and Supply Raptor because they're looking very close to it. Actually, it looked more like Supply Raptor was going for the RB car of OVR Thomas, who's having a very good race there in currently 7th place, or net P5. Ryan is catching, or this group, this train, the pit train that's pitted, is catching Pablo in P2. Don't forget, TRL Paulos and Pablo have yet to pit, the two FGE drivers. Deciding on a different strategy as the OVR Thomas picking up another penalty there. And let's have a look. Well, I say another penalty for the grid. Let's have a look at the penalties. 9 seconds to Simon. And Simple Rocks one gets another one. That's 9 seconds to them now as well. As 12 seconds to Simon. It's all starting to wrap up. And maybe, I don't want to say it, maybe we should have some sort of poll in the chat about, is this race going to finish with a driver without a penalty?
I think it will. I think it will, with how close the front guys are, and in the back are, and Supply Raptor getting past Thomas. I say that they're still side by side. Oh, there's been a contact. There's one car almost around. There is a car around. I take that back, and that's Thomas around down to 13th. Well, it'll be 15th by the end of it. And contact between himself and Supply Raptor trying to go side by side, and that is one driver down to 15th. I think that might be a trip to the stewards for both those drivers.
Yeah, there's a Ferrari in the background as well. It must be Alex Lofer with no front wing. It's not ideal. Well, Ferrante Tamburello getting another victim, and Supply Raptor is now over a second behind Azim, and Sergio Lee is struggling to keep up. Let's go back up with maybe Ryan and Spicer through that, with Joe Murphy pushing. It looks like TF10 Renz through that as well. As wow, this is crazy at the moment.
Yeah, no, almost a move by Murphy on Renz coming down the hill into 11 and 12 there, Gareth, on the previous occasion. Not enough there for him to get by, but we'll see what happens with Renz here. I don't think he's got enough pace really to get by the obviously with Spicer, getting there from his teammate ahead. The top, well, I say the net top, what were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top 5 here broken away now after the incident, and they've got 1.3 seconds over Sergio in 8th. But he'll be doing his very best, Gareth, to try and get back to his teammate to help him out as well.
Definitely, and we'll have to wait to see if there is any DRS games coming into this one. Owen, Nico and Alex Lofer going into a pit for another set of mediums. And that's going to probably go to the end now. TF10 Dirk now picking up a penalty. He already had a penalty. Apologies. It's just an added one onto it. But a little bit of a mistake from TF10 at the exit of turn 15. Only a little bit, because they're still all over the back of Spicer in P4. Ryan's made that little bit of a breakaway again. Maybe to allow, I don't know, Ryan's Spicer to get strong back into it. I'm not 100% sure. Doesn't look like Renz is being able to make a move on Spicer this time around.
I don't think so. I think he's too far back. One thing, guys, just looking at the mini map and the seconds counting down, is the fact this front pack will catch Pablo quite soon. 3.1 split second and third, and that could be a spanner in the works for this front group. If they catch him at the wrong point, the that could allow some moves to happen. If they catch him on the straight, not so bad. But if they catch him, through the middle sector, that could really throw a cat amongst pigeons then and cause some incidents potentially. We'll see when both the FGE drivers decide to pit. But looking at the mini map, they may pop out. I think where they pop out, they probably pop out. So 15th, 16th maybe. Really depends when they decide to pull into the pits. But Pablo making a mistake through 17 and 18 there, and that just allowing Ryan to catch him. And it could be at the end of this lap that they catch him.
Yeah, well, Ryan and Spicer will want to get the move done before. I think they're going to catch him before it, and then be stuck behind from Piratella to Varante Alta, which is not ideal. They'll want to have gone and overtaken Pablo before this point, and I don't think it's going to be the case there. Alex Lofer picking up a 3-second time penalty. Another driver there, another driver that didn't have a penalty has now had a penalty, but they have managed to go over the halfway point in this race. Into the pits for IRT Simon now, but through up the hill into 8 and into Piratella. They are now within a second of Pablo. NLR need to find a way of both their drivers getting past Pablo, but Pablo being caught in between Spicer and TF10 Renz.
Absolutely, yeah. If they can time it right here, they could potentially both get by him in turn sort of 1 and 2, and then Renz gets stuck behind. That would be the ideal. Paulos into the pits. Does that pull Pablo in as well? We'll have to wait and see. He stays out. So here we go. What will Ryan? Ryan should get past him easily. Can Spicer get past him as well? He will. Can Renz get past him as well? Renz, with the overspeed, almost goes into the back of the Mercedes. And the top 4 all get through. And sorry for Pablo, gets bashed at the wing. Pablo's around as well. Contact with one of the front group. And unfortunately, Pablo goes round. That's him down to 9th place. And still get to pit, Gareth.
Yeah, Sir Jolie, I think, caught there as Joe Murphy. Oh, goodness me. He has left the session. That's not ideal, as the BRT driver was having a relatively good race, hounding TF10 Renz with the tyre advantage, but that is not great for BRT. Now that allows TF10 Renz and ET8 Azim, to attack Spicer effectively. Ryan leading the Grand Prix. Joe Murphy is back in the session. Unfortunately, though, 1.4 seconds behind Sir Jolie. And that, I don't want to say a race win out of the cards now for Joe Murphy, but it could very well be.
Could be. 12 laps remain of this race. And that could be, enough. He still hasn't got the control of his car back, I don't think. Really not ideal for him there. And it's going to cost him a heap of time in this race. And it could be the win there for Joe, unfortunately. He's got Supply Raptor behind him, trying to hound him down, but 2.9 now puts 5th and 6th. That's a huge gap, Gareth.
That is a very big gap indeed. And while we haven't touched on the subject or broached the subject, safety car is possible here at Imola, but it's been relatively simple at the moment for everyone. But it's very, very close through the middle sector. But they are doing it, and Joe Murphy's left the session again. That is really not ideal as well. It looks like Supply Raptor's disconnected as well, maybe. Hopefully we're not sharing the same internet, the two of them, because that wouldn't be ideal either. But that's going to surely allow OVR Nico to go through the both of them.
It should do. He's flying through at the moment, and that's him. We should be up into P6 now. So ideal for him. Getting some points for the Cash App team. Their flies on through, coming through turn 1. Pablo with another penalty. It's really taking off with these penalties now, Gareth. We've got 6 drivers without penalties now. We'll see whether we get everyone has a clean slate. But like we said in the intro, that could be the difference, and it's really showing now.
Simbaroxhorn getting another one with points down to 15th as well. Even though the top 5 drivers yet to get a penalty, which is kind of what you would expect. Everyone else with a penalty, other than Joe Murphy, who's in and out of the lobby at the moment, doing the hokey cokey, unfortunately. But Spicer, well, nearly a second away from his teammate. He's got to make a little bit of a wiggle on to make sure he stays within there. As Supply Raptor now back in the lobby as well. So he can use the DRS, use the slipstream. He doesn't want to be too far behind his teammate, or otherwise it leaves it open for TF10 Renz to make a move. And this is going to be very, very tight for Spicer. I think Renz might very well have the overspeed on the NLR driver as they head on down through turn 1, down into the Tamburello, but somehow Spicer sticks ahead.
Yeah, somehow late on the brakes from the inside as well. Managed to stay ahead, and you can see he's getting frustrated now. Gareth staying in 3rd place. Azim trying and waiting for any mistake. Looks to the inside through 7. That's an audacious move up the inside. A little bit of contact there. Can he get the power down? No, he can't. Ren's at the outside then. He's through and stays in P3. It's all happening in the front battle, and Azim trying his best but just can't succeed at the moment through 7 because he's a bit stuck, Gareth. He's in a DRS trade. He's got to try something different.
Yeah, he certainly does. And, you know, Tozer up the inside isn't a bad way to make a move, but he needs to size it up a little bit more or a bit longer to make sure he's got TF10 Renz on the ropes, let's say. He has got the better tyre wear out of anyone in the top 5. It's 1 lap extra, but that could prove crucial when it comes to grip later on. Let's see how it will pan out at the moment as they head on down the start-finish straight into turn 1. It's looking good. Ren's trying to go to the outside of Spicer this time, but it hasn't worked. But they are pretty much attached nose to diffuser.
Yeah, they glued to each other. Azim having the lift off late there, and the yellow flag in sector 1. That's Owen off through turn 2 and turn 3. Can he get back in circuit? Yes, he can. It shouldn't be a safety car, I don't think. Back into green flag racing there in sector 1, and Owen struggling there down in P16. Both BRT drivers for a various amount of reasons struggling in this session. Back to the top 4. Go on, Gareth.
That looked like it was actually TF10 Dirk and Joe Murphy having a coming together, and Joe Murphy coming off worse.
Sorry, my mistake.
Which is not ideal, especially when you look at it from a championship point of view, because TF10 and BRT are championship rivals.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you know, you've got both the NL drivers, TF10, up at the front, and obviously the fact that there was an incident there, like I said, between but BRT and TF10, you know, they're not helping their chances here in the championship, are they?
No, definitely not. And, well, you look at it, TF10, NLR, TF10 and ET8 are holding the top 6 positions right now, with BRT, the leaders of the championship, in 13th and 16th place, respectively. Not ideal at all as we look at the penalties situation. And Joe Murphy should be able to get some points out of this, looking at it, throwing themselves up the order a little bit if it was to finish like this because of the penalties. But look how close the drivers are, nose to tail. Spicer nearly out of a second range of Ryan ahead. They are out of a second range. No, just through for Ante Alta. They gained a little bit of time. This is becoming very, very close.
It is, isn't it? It's really, you know, we still got plenty of more laps of racing to go, Gareth, you know, but if Ryan breaks that second gap, you know, his teammate's in trouble then. Renz could get him here. He's tried on a couple of occasions now, but again, he's not close enough on this occasion. It looks like to make a move through 2, and neither is Azim or Sergio behind there. getting very close. And, it's getting to that crunch time now, guys. They're going to have to get a move on, otherwise they're not going to get onto the podium here, the ET8 boys.
Yeah, getting a wiggle on is definitely required. And there's someone in the background. I think that's OVR Thomas. Maybe careering into the wall. I couldn't really see.
Yeah, Thomas, yeah.
But also, TIR Paulos doing a very, very good job right now of... Well, they've got the fresher medium tyres at the race, and they're doing a very good job of getting themselves through the field, is the best way to describe it. Ryan really doesn't want to push too hard. 0.7 of a second between himself and Spicer. They need that gap there just to ensure, and I'm not sure which way around this is, whether it's Spicer dropping through that middle sector to allow Ryan to have the gap, or if Ryan decides just to put the foot down a little bit in the middle sector to allow this first sector or the first corner or into turn 2 for Spicer to catch up.
Yeah, it could well be one. Well, it could be either, really. I think the key thing is that Ryan doesn't break a second, because if he does, Spicer's a sit duck into the first 2 corners. So, and then that would also allow potentially Azim and Sergio to get through as well. So, it's really key that the end. Oh yeah, and we've got Nico is retired from the session in the pits. That's fine. No safety car. I panicked a little bit there. I was expecting a late safety car here at Imola, but that's not going to happen. With Nico out of the Grand Prix. I don't know when he retired, because he was close to points, I'm sure, but maybe the penalties were too much for him, and unfortunately he is out of the race. We're down to 19 drivers here at Imola. But it looks like Spies are struggling through 14 and 15. Potentially, Gareth, he's got warnings, and if he goes too far, it could be that's a penalty, and he's going to drop down, well, to at least 5th with how it's looking at the moment. So it could be that's why he's lifting off for the last sector.
It could very well be that, or he just needs to protect Ryan ahead. It's, well, whichever way they're doing a fantastic job, the NLR team, at the moment, holding up first and second respectively. Ren's desperate to try and find a way through, but the TF10 driver must know that they are catching and probably exceeding BRT in the standings as we speak. Joe Murphy in 9th and Owen in 15th there. Penalties obviously will change things come the end of the race. As I'm trying to find, we'll get ready to go on board with Joe Murphy's. He's sticking to Paulos at the moment, and Paulos trying to breach that, get that gap back to OVR Nico in 7th place. But everything just seems to be at a little bit, maybe the best way to describe it is the eye of the storm.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's quieting down a little bit with everything frantic. First by the race, and again, it's chilled out a little bit at the moment, but we'll see how it all kicks off with what was that, 4 racing laps remaining, sorry, 5 here. But Rens goes to the inside. Spies are pushing him under the grass, can't get through there. So Spies are using all the available track there to defend, as Nico gets past Dirk as well, coming into turn 1 and 2. And Murphy flying past Powell, as has Latifi. So Murphy now up to 8th place. And with how the penalties sit, and if you close a gap, he could potentially bring it back up to 6th with how it all goes. But yeah, maybe a race to forget for Murphy. But issues with connection, obviously contact with Dirk has cost him a lot of time here in this race.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Joe Murphy. Issues out of his control, really struggled as Rennes. It definitely looks like through Aqua Minerale, Spicer is starting just to lift off a little bit, which is allowing that gap to... Oh, and we've got our first top 5 penalty. Sergioli is picking up a 3-second time penalty, which is not ideal. But will that mean that ET8 decide, right, okay, we'll swap positions between Azim and Sergioli, and Sergioli has a massive attack on TF10 Rennes, because of that penalty. We just don't know at the moment. Just a little over 3 laps remaining. And at the moment, NLR have this, well, I don't want to say wrapped up, but they've got this in a nice wrapped basket at the moment.
Yep, and it's not been delivered just yet, I don't think, but we'll have to wait and see whether they can get it completed. Azim going to go around the outside at 7 on Renz, trying every trick in the book. He can't get through. He's catching people at the wrong point, unfortunately. And the way the DRS works at the circuit, he just can't get through, unfortunately. I think Azim is just going for it, guys. I don't think he's going to allow his teammate to attack Renz here, but they just can't get past Spicer with the way the DRS is and the way that, in fairness, the NRL boys have played it perfectly, Gareth. They're really, it's just enough for Spicer to sit in the DRS window. So I think it could be this could be it. Simbaros get a penalty there. I think NRL may get the win, but whether they get first and second is still to be debated.
Lap 30 of 32, 3 laps remaining, including this one here. And well, NLR, like you quite rightly mentioned, are doing a very, very good job of trying to hold this one out. We've lost one driver, EVE Nico. We're not 100% sure what happened to Nico. We believe they were close to the points, and whether it was penalties that just over-amounted, I'm not 100% sure. But Simba Rocks 1 is currently our driver with the most well, I suppose you could call it points. Penalty points, 18 seconds worth at the moment, 12 for OVR, Thomas and Simon as well. The penalties coming in thick and fast. There's a yellow flag, and that looks very much like a possibility of Simon that has struggled through the Rivasa there of 17 and 18, which is not ideal. Again, Ryan builds a gap to Spicer as they come into 16, 17 and 18, which allows him to be then caught by Spicer down the start-finish straight. And you wonder if Renz and Azim have got anything to counter this at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, Simon at the Grand Prix as well, Gareth. He's made a mistake at turn 2, and that's him out of the Grand Prix. And that is up around the outside contact between second and third. Spicer and Renz fighting away. He's been pushed off into the gravel. Could that allow Azim up the inside there, side by side? Into 5 they go. Can he hang it around the outside? No, he can't. And Renz just about holds P3. Elbows out to the extreme through the first sector. And everyone stays in position. Ryan's lifted off to allow his teammate to stay within the DRS window. I think that's exactly their plan, Gareth.
What teamwork from the NLR guys. Elbows out to the... Well, what teamwork from Ryan. NLR, Spicer, has got his elbows out. Renz and Azim have to find a way through the NLR double-decker bus, which is there. And at the moment, there's no way through. We're on lap 31, the penultimate lap here in Imola. And Ryan leads the way from Spicer, and NLR are looking strong.
Yeah, they are. They've got just over a lap to defend this 1-2 at Imola. See whether they can do it. On to the final lap they go. What has Renz got in the tank? What has Azim got in the tank? Sergio hasn't really been present in this fight. He's got a penalty as well. Here we go. Renz to the inside, defending from Spicer all over the circuit there. Can Renz try somewhere else? Through 4 they go. Not close enough. Azim nowhere near to make a move. Through 5 and 6 they go towards 7. No places to go. Azim looking very close. Can he go up the inside in 7? No, he can't. And Gareth, it's still all to play for. Half a lap to go.
Yeah, we're on the finale. And I've just got no words to describe how well NLR have played this one at the moment. They've started 2nd and 4th on the grid. Spicer 2nd, Ryan 4th. But at the moment, it's Ryan 1st and Spicer 2nd. The gap builds a little bit again, but they don't need it as large as it has been. Ryan leading the way into Verante Outer. Through, down the hill they go. Through a turn that isn't a turn, apparently. Into 16 they come. Ryan leads it still. Rennes has got to find a way through in these final 3 corners, but I don't think they're going to be able to. Azim is pushing the Aston Martin, but it's all about the NLR show. Ryan's going to win it from Spicer here in Imola at Competitive Speed Series, and oh my goodness me, TF10 Rennes nearly loses it on the line.
I thought Azim tapped the back of Rennes there, and I thought that was Rennes around, but didn't go that way, luckily. Sergio just about holds P5 there with a penalty. Murphy, well, I say just about, there's quite a significant gap. I do apologise. Murphy takes 6th, Gareth, with Dirk in 7th, Latifi 8th, Nico in 9th, and Paulos rounds off the top 10 here with obviously Thomas 11th, Ivan 12th, Simba Rocks, Alex, Owen, and then I think Owen's actually made a mistake, Gareth. He's right. Oh no, he's just binned it across the line. Probably what it is, but what a finish that was.
Yeah, what a way to finish the Imola Grand Prix. A little bit of controversy and a little bit of action. It's exactly what we like from a commentary point of view. And there goes Supply Raptor across the line to finish this one. Well, Dirk getting drive of the day from starting on the back row to get some big points for the TF10 team. But we will hopefully run down the order in a little bit. But driver of the day for you, please, Ollie.
Oh, this is a good question, Gareth. Have a look at the list. I mean, I think there are a number of drivers you could say, both. But I think Azim played it well. Rennes was good, but I think for me, Gareth, it's got to be Ryan for the win. Played it well, played the team game well, and got the win. Started 4th up to the 1st. But a shout out to both Dirk and Paulos, who started. Well, Dirk started in last and finished 7th, while Paulos with the alternate strategy from 7th to 10th. So a shout out to them as well.
Some cracking work there. Chat, let us know who you think driver of the day should go to as well. It really is. Has been a great evening for it all. As we're not, it doesn't look like I'm going to get the order. Oh well, I didn't want it anyway. Yeah, unfortunate. Yeah, you look at it and you go, who from Joe Murphy, so close. But those disconnects and then the incident with Dirk cost him massively tonight.
Yeah, and that could it be a difference potentially? If you look at the way that finished with both NRL and obviously grabbing the standings quickly, Gareth, with obviously ET8 finishing in 4th and 5th, which is good for them. TF10, they had one driver in the top 3. I think Dirk was 6th in the end. So that's a good haul of points. Or BRT were languishing down in, 6th, and I don't even know what Owen was. He had an awful race, really. So they'll at least lose the lead of the championship. Whether they drop down any further, we'll have to wait and see till once the stewards have their chat with the drivers, and we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, and not ideal for BRT. It's as simple as that, I think.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We are just let's go to the interview screen and see if we're gonna get any drivers for interviews. It looks like we are possibly gonna get at least one, which is nice. It's always nice. We don't often get a driver for these interviews, do we?
I don't think we ever have had a driver, Gareth, in
so
our
it's nice
commentary record.
It's nice to get someone. Let's just see. Let's throw in a quick chat into there. I'm not very good at multitasking, typing and talking at the same time. Anyway, while we wait for possibly someone, we'll have to see. Did you manage to get the results by chance, Ollie?
I didn't. No, I ran down most of the grid before the end. But it may, I think, unfortunately, the gates might have taken off the stream before you got to before the end of the race, potentially. Unfortunately, apologies, Ace.
We'll have to wait and see. We're just waiting for Ryan to throw into the waiting room, and then we'll both head off and join into that one. But yeah, it's it's a little bit of a waiting game right now. It's just literally just waiting for Ryan and then we'll have some a little bit more content for you guys.
Well, okay, while we're away, we can obviously talk about next week. We've got Austria coming up for round 6, which you and I both love as a circuit. It is non-stop. It's almost a go-kart track with, what is it, about 4 corners at that circuit. So we should have a cracking race next week, as Ryan's in the waiting room for us.
Okay, well let's move ourselves over, and hopefully speak to him very, very shortly. Hopefully Ryan can hear us. Ryan, are you there? Hello. Well,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. That's a good start.
Lovely.
And we've also got Spicer in here as well. Ollie, I'm gonna let you take whichever driver you would like to speak to first.
Oh well, obviously got to start with the race winner, Gareth, in Ryan. Well done, Ryan. A 1-2 for NRL. Just talk us through your race, because it got hectic at the start, and then obviously the second half of the race you sort of led away, and the NRL charged to hold the 1-2. But great display there from the team. Just talk us through it.
Well, yeah, like you said, the start was quite hectic. Renz had a pretty poor entry into turn 1, and then I think he just went over the curb into turn 2, and yeah, this obviously understeered him into my car, and I had to go into the gravel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will have a look into that again. But yeah, it made our life a bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
And then we opted for the undercut, and we debated like all the time, should we go 8-9 or 7-8? And then we opted for the 7-8 one, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just to get both cars at the front again. And then yeah, we just did what we could, always held the gap for the main straight, and yeah, that won us the race.
Yeah, and we were debating it in the commentary chat whether, because you were almost a second at one point, but we thought, he must be lifting off slightly or taking his time to make sure that Spicer had that DRS win to make sure Renz couldn't get by.
Yeah, exactly. That was like the whole plan. Always this 8.5 tenths gap to make sure that we can react on Renz or anyone else behind.
Yeah. And Spicer, I think you had a bit more of a stressful time compared to your teammate with Renz all over your gearbox, and you had Azim there as well. Yeah, are you able to relax now after that race? Because you'd argue even more hectic for yourself.
Quite cool that the race ended now. No, like that was like stressful is a wrong word for it. It's like it was like using the straight like for I don't know, for 20 laps or something, using and just be sure that Renz is not getting us. Yeah, I'm happy that we got that 1-2. So.
Yeah, I'm sure. Obviously, a great result for the team, and obviously that helps you massively in the standings as well. Obviously, finally getting a win for the team. It must be a 1-2. I think it's the first. Yeah, I think it's the first 1-2 of the season. So, as a team, Spicer obviously must be over the moon with the result at Imola today.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like my legs were shaking the last 3 laps completely. Like I was never in the position of getting a 1-2.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like you're obviously both obviously ecstatic with the win, and obviously start with Ryan. Obviously looking to Austria next week for yourself? A track that you enjoy? I'd obviously not sure whether obviously you both be racing or obviously switch out for other teammates, but for yourself, Ryan, a track you enjoy or maybe one to swap out for?
Well, it's lucky for us that we have Austria on Friday and WR, so that's quite nice.
Okay. Lovely.
And I think I can speak for both of us. We absolutely don't enjoy that shit track.
It's a lovely country.
Yeah, it's a lovely country, but yeah, not a good track.
Okay. Well, we'll see whether you guys can compete with the rest of the guys next week. But well done on you both. Gareth, I'll pass back to you if you got any questions.
Obviously, you mentioned both of this. I don't know which one of you wants to answer this one, but you mentioned about the early pit stop, the undercut. Was there any discussion about, obviously Spicer, you were second on the grid. Was there any discussion about swapping positions, or is it just right? We need to finish this as high up as possible. And
at the end, it doesn't matter in what order we are finishing, as long as we finish 1-2, everything is good. So, like, I was second before the pit stop, but we already planned that Ryan is going for the undercut, and then I go one lap later to get that lead, what we thought we get, and we got it. So yeah, everything went the plan.
Obviously, Joe Murphy had that disconnect, unfortunately, for it. We know he's very good at like later lunges into corners. Do you think had he been still in the race, that the 1-2 would have been, well, I say still in the race, still in the top group, he would have put your 1-2 in jeopardy?
No.
No, simple answer. Love that.
I think, but yeah, Joe Murphy is quite unpredictable. Not always in a good way, but yeah, he's a threat in the end. That's for sure. Yeah. So I wasn't too unhappy with his disconnect. I was unhappy with his rejoining like 20 times and my FPS dropping to 2. Yeah, but it was quite good for us.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations to the both of you and to NLR for 1-2 this season, and well, good luck for next week, and obviously WR on Friday as well. But yeah, we'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thanks.
Yeah, have a nice evening.
Cheers, guys. Ollie, well, that is pretty much that. How do we run that one down?
I don't know. Too intense for it, really, wasn't it? With how it all went. Yeah, I mean, I think not as hectic as last week with the finish, but plenty of action. A little bit of controversy, I think, with some of the moves, obviously further down. Stewards will be busy, I think, after the race. But another top class race in CSS. Look forward to Austria next week.
Perfect. Yeah, it's been a very, very good one tonight. But well, that is all we have time for, and I would like to thank everyone who has watched it. It's been an absolute fantastic race. Thank you, Ollie, for sitting alongside me on this one again, and we'll be back for the Austrian Grand Prix next week.